Hello. Hopefully we won't have any issues like we did yesterday when we started. Let's continue with this. With the death of Bastian Rook and the revelation that Shelley de Keller was in our midst, the case had taken a turn we could have never predicted. Mr. Knight ordered that the door to the presidential plane be opened, and the emergency personnel attending to Mr. Rook's body were asked to leave. With the scene cleared, we stepped cautiously aboard. No president in sight. Now where could he be? Who knows? So he's hiding behind the bulkhead door over there, is he? As courageous in the face of danger as ever. Sorry to disappoint, but did you seriously expect him to be standing here waiting to meet his assassin? As we have already established, my interest lies only in the successful conclusion of this investigation. Now, Mr. Edgeworth, if you would be so kind as to examine the body. Alright. My only option right now is to play along. The rest is up to you, Detective Gumshoe. So, the attempted assassination of the President has become the murder of a bodyguard. You look like you could use a little help there, Mr. Edgeworth. Not that I need it, but yes. That's what I thought. And there's nothing else for it. Okay, Faraday, great thief extraordinaire, we'll just have to take it from here. Oh, really? You mean you're going to solve the case for me? Nope. I thought not. I will provide vital assistance. Now let's get to scouring this crime scene from top to bottom. It will take Detective Gumshoe a while to assemble our backup, so I'll need to draw this part of the investigation out for as long as possible. I must scour the scene and inspect anything that catches my attention. It's a bulletproof attaché case. Bodyguards use them as to shield their clients from gunfire. There was some encased photograph too. Looks like Rook and Knight each had one. Oh, hey, that's the photo I snatched. You can hardly steal a photo at a public event, Kay. But I'm snatching up a moment in time with every picture I take, you know? I take it snatch is your new favourite word. Maybe. It's the victim, Mr. Bastian Rook, bodyguard to the President of Zhangfa. It's one of the guys that brought the President inside as soon as the shooting started. Which means he continued to do his duty right up until his dying breath. At least he'll get a posthumous promote. At least he'll get posthumously promoted. Okay, it's better to know when to say nothing at all than to end up with your foot in your mouth. What do you mean? I mean, bodyguards don't even operate on the same rank promotion system as the police in the first place. There are two large rectangles cut in the floor here. I can see hinges through the gaps.
An emergency entrance disguised as an emergency exit. All the President would need to do is lower his rope ladder and make his miraculous escape.
Which would make it an exit, not an entrance. So which is it?
It's an exit, but it's used as an entrance, but disguised as an exit. Yeah, I think.
Congratulations, you've even confused yourself. That's quite the achievement. So the victim was also carrying a revolver.
Looks like he was trying to use it.
He probably drew it on instinct when he felt threatened. We should check to see if he managed to fire any rounds off. All there, and no signs of the weapon having been used. Was this one on loan from Zhangfa too? Yep, sure was. We're always issued with the same model gun. The bullet seems to have entered just under his armpit and went clean through his body. He was hit in an area his bulletproof vest didn't cover.
Like it was on purpose or something, huh?
The cause of death would appear to be loss of blood. Attempts were made to staunch it, but to no avail.
Medics must have been brought in to try and save him.
Sadly, it was too little too late. Look.
I didn't do it. I'm a reporter. Bag scoops, not souls.
But then why lie about your jacket and the laser sight?
That was just... no, you all would think it was fishy.
Is that really all it was?
Please, you gotta believe me. I could never do something like this.
I'd like to tell you everything will be alright, but just try not to worry too much. If you really are innocent, I'll prove it, one way or another.
Thanks, Chief. I believe in you.
How many times must I tell you, I am not your chief?
Oh, sorry, Ruffles. Clean forgot you were Chief Number 2.
That's not what I meant. There's a wide selection of protective equipment here. Bulletproof vests, hazmat gear.
No way! There's even a spacesuit!
I get the sense that the President thinks he's very much in need of protection at all costs.
But what if he was in a gunfight and there was poison gas everywhere? And he was in space. What would he do then, huh?
Then he'd simply put on the bulletproof vest, the hazmat gear, and the spacesuit.
That's probably easier said than done.
Someone has left an inflatable boat and an oar here. Probably so it's ready to go at any time.
Wait, there's only one oar.
You can still row with one oar, you know. Two gas masks, in case of a poison gas attack, I suppose. The President certainly seems to think he is at risk of assassination at all times.
Whoa, gas masks! Never seen one before. I've heard plenty about them, of course.
Oh, from a fellow thief, I presume?
No, from the German Ninja. You know, my favourite kids' TV show. Princess Murasaki was getting married, but toxic ninja Wolfsbane showed up to lay down some sick burns.
And time to tune out. Might save myself a brain cell or two. The President is on the other side of this door.
What a door it is. Bet I could get the better of it, though.
Get the better of it. Doors aren't there to be beaten.
But look how heavy it is. Look at that lock. It's just sitting there begging me to try it.
Calm down, Kay, and think. Why might this door be locked?
Me to open it, of course.
Precisely. For you to open it, of course. Wait. What is the right answer anyway? It's a bank of monitors displaying camera feeds from in and around the plane. I must scour the scene and inspect anything that catches my attention. These monitors are displaying the cockpit and the parts of the plane's exterior. I don't see anything out of the ordinary. That's the outside of the plane. Most intruders could not hope to approach without being spotted. But such measures would be mere child's play in my case.
Whoa, you're saying you can get past cameras like these without being seen?
Of course, with ease.
You have to teach me how. Please, are you taking on apprentices by any chance?
Kay, you do realize who you're talking to, don't you?
Oh yeah. Sorry. And to ask though, what a great skill for a great thief to know.
Unfortunately for you, I am not the type to take on understudies.
You're not, huh? Shame.
Shame? In what way exactly? This monitor is displaying a feed of this very room.
They didn't go cheap when they brought these, huh? Very high res.
Oh, I'm afraid I can't quite tell myself, but...
You can even see the little crow's feet around your eyes. Oh, my bad. They're just the usual deeply etched lines, you know, on your forehead.
If you've quite finished. What on earth is this? Oh, that is the president's favourite plushie. It's a memento of, something. Anyway, don't touch. But if that's the case, then why has it been...
left up there like nobody cares about it? Yeah, that is pretty weird.
Certainly wouldn't be the first place I would think to display a beloved item. Wait, are these shards of glass underneath it? Oh, something seems strange about this cubbyhole, but now I'm sure of it. There was almost certainly another monitor here.
Yep, anything and everything catches your attention.
Documents of some kind.
We could always steal a glance.
Another security plan.
Oh yeah, like the one from the trash can.
Precisely. But wait, something feels off. It's the same rough diagram of the stage area.
Yeah, like the other security plan we found.
The one from earlier, you mean? Something's different, I'm sure of it. What could it mean? Time to put my powers of deduction to work. Diagram stage. Yeah, security plan. Decent. Paying attention. Loki forgot what it's done. They're just in different places. The two plans are different. Was the security detail reorganized at some point?
Huh? Oh, you're right.
Yeah, we made some last-minute changes yesterday. President's orders. Why the urgency? Because of what happened the day before. Together here tried to take him down. He infiltrated the security detail, posed as one of us. Rook figured it out first, but not before the guy got within striking distance of the president. If our leader hadn't stepped in just then, we'd all have been out of a job. But he made it, and our friend here wound up with a seriously twisted arm. Rook put a bullet in it for good measure too.
And where were you while this was happening?
You were the first one I overpowered, were you not?
Oh, that's embarrassing.
You shut up, kid. Now I get it. Your neck has barely begun to heal, and you've already forgotten who I am. I'm disappointed. What? It's you? Busted up my neck so bad I can't even look to my right. I was somewhat astonished to have sustained an injury at all. A testament to Mr. Rook's skill. He was truly a master of his craft. Unlike a certain other someone I could mention. I'm just as good as he ever was. You were a pawn to his queen, my young friend. What the heck do you know? So, that's why you remembered Mr. Rook's name. You admired his skills as a bodyguard. Indeed. While I was serving on the team, I learned the names of all the operatives. But his in particular stayed with me. It joined the very short list of those who have ever successfully wounded me. So, that's the connection he was talking about. And that's why we changed up the security plan. Had to be sure there weren't any more assassins in the ranks. The President didn't want anybody on stage he didn't trust, and he only trusts two people. Me and Rook. How does that explain your change of position?
Oh yeah, you switched over to the right-hand side.
I told you, I can't turn my neck to the right. Could only cover the President's left side. So I wound up moving to the right side of the stage. Okay, whatever.
This looks heavy. That looks heavy. And this is what a president wears, huh? Must be made of something super special.
Yes, to protect him from bullets.
What? It's not just for show?
Of course not. This is a bulletproof vest.
Oh, that's what one of those looks like. Why didn't you just say so? Now I feel silly.
These personal safety alarms are very colourful. Looks like they get a lot of use as well.
I like the president. He seems like a thoughtful guy. Buying these for his kids, maybe his wife too.
Why would they all be here if that was the case? No, these are for his own personal use.
Objection, Your Honour. It is simply not possible for one person to use this many personal alarms. Why, you ask? Because he is human, and therefore possesses only 2 hands.
20 hands wouldn't be enough to count the number of objections I have to that objection. A curious figure of a curious animal with a curious expression is staring straight at me.
Look, there's a big lever right by its butt.
Don't even think about it.
Well, I wasn't thinking anything, I swear.
I imagine that lever opens the panels beneath my feet. Ah, I see. He's standing on a trapdoor. I strongly advise you not to pull it. Do so and you will regret it. You know, I'm okay with taking some advice, especially when it's from a professional killer. It's a solid circular life preserver, designed to be used in case of an emergency on the water. Or rather, the sea to be more precise.
Oh, the sea. I love the sea. We should go sometime.
Sorry, but you'll have to make that particular trip without me.
Oh, don't be like that. Come on, it'll be fun. We can have lobster rolls, ice cream, all that good stuff.
Something tells me the sea isn't the main attraction for you, is it? Right, shield. Next to it, a canary in a cage.
Oh, she's so sweet. I want one. Did you ever see a cuter partner in crime?
Partner in crime?
Well, yeah. She could help me with lockpicking, stuff like that. Great thief has no greater ally than nature, Mr. Edgeworth.
Sadly, such birds are most commonly used for detecting poisonous gases. Wait, this one isn't actually for that, is it? It is. I have high hopes for your investigation. I do hope you won't betray my trust in you. Things are progressing well, I hope. There's no need to worry, things are progressing just fine. Remember, I absolutely despise betrayals of all kinds. Yes, I know. Indeed you do. So please, do take care not to double-cross me, accidentally or otherwise. I really have no choice but to do as he says for now. Can't believe I let an assassin onto the president's plane. You know very well it was for the good of the investigation, Mr. Knight. Don't give me that. I know what you really want. You do indeed, because you heard me say it already. I wish to know the truth behind Mr. Rook's death. But you did also say you were asked to assassinate the president by a certain someone. You seem to have forgotten that there are more pressing matters at hand. I don't often carry out unpaid work, but it's not entirely unheard of. Fine. I'll get back to the investigation. Good. I'm expecting great things from you, Mr. Edgeworth.
Combine that.
The two guns are exactly the same, meaning it's likely that the one we found is also from Zhangfa.
The bodyguards all got their guns from the Zhangfa authorities, right?
Yes.
Are they, like, super rare or anything?
No, I don't believe so. This model isn't exactly easy to come by in this country, but it's certainly not impossible either.
Ooh, yeah, I thought they might be valuable treasures.
Yes, it is something of a shame.
Well, I just mentioned treasures and you actually responded for once.
I only mean to point out that if the guns were rarer, it would be much easier to trace them. Which would have made them treasures of the evidence variety, I suppose.
See? Everything's a treasure hunt one way or another, including this investigation.
You could say that.
Alright then, treasure hunting time. On with the investigation.
He certainly seems a lot more enthusiastic all of a sudden. Two bullets were fired in total. We know this because two shots were heard. One travelled through the flag and into the balloon. The other took Mr. Rook's life.
There's a bullet in the president's vest too, right? How is that possible?
Oh, indeed. The numbers don't add up. However, there is one possible explanation.
There is?
After passing through his body, the bullet that took Mr. Rook's life then found itself lodged in the vest. In other words, two of our bullets were in fact one.
No way.
He's right. If the president had been wearing that vest, things could have been a lot worse. And he wasn't injured at all by the impact. Even when obstructed by a vest, a bullet can inflict serious damage. Sure, I've known guys who got broken bones that way. But the president's okay. He's made of strong stuff.
Sounds like he didn't even need a vest.
Let's not get carried away here. I want that bullet's ballistics markings analysed.
Remind me what those are again?
Guns leave a unique pattern of grooves on every bullet they fire. By examining these grooves, we can use them to identify which gun it came from. Think of them as fingerprints of a sort.
You can tell that from a bullet. Then what are we waiting for? Analyze away.
Might be easier said than done. That bullet hit solid armor. The impact would have completely flattened it. I'll be lucky if there's anything left for forensics to find.
What? I was all set for some analyzing.
That's quite enough investigating for now. What is taking so long, Detective Gumshoe? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, have you solved the case? No, not yet. Is that so? Then perhaps interviewing another key witness might help you to do so. Another witness? Who?
You don't mean...
The most important witness of all. The man on the other side of that door. He really intends to have me question the president. Now, if you would be so kind as to summon him, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop right there, Tequila. You're nuts if you think I'd let him anywhere near you. Well, Mr. President, I'm sure you are watching us through your security feed, aren't you? In which case I politely request that you show yourself. That is, if you value your bodyguard's life. Well then, if nothing else, we now know what kind of a man you really are. Mr. President! Stop! You can't do this. Let's all just calm down, alright? Come on, Detective. Where the blazes are you?
Eesh.
The lights. What's happening? Listen well, Mr. Edgeworth. I would advise you to stay very still. It seems I will not be granted my audience with the President after all. Even with Mr. Knight's life as a bargaining chip. No, stop!
Eesh.
Hey, you won't get away with this, Tequila. I have seen enough, and now I know the truth. Where are you? Where did you go? Ugh. I leave the rest in your capable hands, Mr. Edgeworth.
Worth. Edgeworth.
Detective Gumshoe? Sir! Mr. Edgeworth, sir! I must have been knocked unconscious. Sir, you're okay?
You alright, Mr. Edgeworth?
Never mind me. He didn't hurt you, did he, eh?
Nah, I'm fine. I only just woke up myself. My head will be sore for a while, but that's about it, so you can stop worrying.
Detective, did you manage to stop the car? Well, see, Mr. Lloyd came running out of the plane and, he told us he'd flown the coop. There. He told us he'd flown the coop. Oh, we were too late. I'm sorry, sir. Bodyguard over there told us something too. Seems there's an inflatable boat missing from the window, from by the window. The killer must have stolen it and rowed himself across the lake. What about the cordon around the park? I'd called everyone back in to stake out the plane, including the guy stationed across the water. No. So he's completely slipped through our fingers? Not the best look for the department, but yeah. Hey, Edgeworth. Mr. Knight, you're alive. Yeah, no thanks to that murderer. Oh, that reminds me. I found this lying on the ground next to you, Mr. Edgeworth. A calling card marked with a seashell. I guess you wanted to leave a message. The killer usually leaves these next to the bodies of his victims. But you're not dead, sir. But I could have been. Maybe that's the message. Can't stop thinking about his parting words. I have seen enough, and now I know the truth. I leave the rest in your capable hands, Mr. Edgeworth. Now I know the truth. The truth about what? Roger that. All clear out here, sir. Over. What's going on? That was the president. He's coming out. Now? So, he's the president of Zhangfa. Mr. Dai Jun Wang. And you are? It's an honor to meet you, Mr. President. My name is Miles Edgeworth. The honor is all mine, Mr. Edgeworth. I am Dai Jun Wang. Your efforts on behalf of Zhangfa have not gone unnoticed. You averted something of a crisis. You must be referring to the Yatagarasu case. Thank you, sir, but all I did was solve a few local cases of murder. You are too humble. I have been observing your investigation. You are an impressive operator, Mr. Edgeworth, even if the killer did get away. That's very kind of you to say. So he was watching through his security feed. Sadly, I must inform you that this is as far as your investigation goes. What do you mean? Hear me, foolish prosecutor, or I shall say this only once. Knight has appraised me of the state of affairs, and from this point forward, the case will be handled by Zhangfa's police force, the finest in the world. Even with the killer out of the picture, they're still looking to get me thrown off this case. What do you think you're doing, pal? Nobody talks to Mr. Edgeworth like that. If it hadn't been for him, the killer would've... Detective? Forgive him, Mr. President, but I must confess to being somewhat confused. I fail to see how or why this case falls within Zhangfa's jurisdiction. You fail to see? Enough, puny prosecutor. You seek explanations from a head of state. I say no, 1,000 times no. I will not explain myself to you. Now hand over the evidence you have gathered and remove yourself from this plane. I'd do I'd do as he says if I were you, Edgeworth. This can't really be the end of the line, can it? Why? Why let us come so far only to pull the case out from under us? Now, you may leave. Knight, detain the suspect. Yes, sir, right away. To make an attempt on my life, to murder one of my faithful servants, the effrontery, the villainy.
I didn't murder nobody. 'Cause I...
Shut your mouth, Miss Journalist. Answer me this. In a world already lousy with lies, with deception, with sin and inequality, Can we stand by and suffer yet another crime to go unpunished? I say no. 1,000 times no. There can be no forgiveness. There can be no surrender. Why, you ask me, then I will tell you. He's hiding something, I'm certain of it. And if I leave now, we'll never know the truth. Mr. Edgeworth, sir!
Mr. Edgeworth, there's gotta be something we can do.
Think, Miles. Remember, how many times have you faced situations like this in the courtroom? You've confronted the lies of witnesses and countered the arguments of other lawyers. Has the critical evidence always been laid at your feet? No. And yet, you always got to the truth of the situation in the end. With your greatest weapon of all, your words. Now, let us analyze the state of play. Begone, puny prosecutor, or do you dare defy the direct order of a president? He's not going to listen. He clearly means to drown out any objection by means of pure rhetoric force. What an opponent. When an opponent is on the offensive, the best thing I can do is bide my time and wait for an opening. As he said himself, he's a head of state, a seasoned politician. He won't open himself up to an attack easily. I can't let him bully me into submission. I have to stay calm and alert and save the game first.
I do not like these things being timed.
If I can read his movements and expressions correctly, I may be able to find my moment. My first aim should be to find out why he is insisting on Zhangfa taking over the case. The board is set. Time to make my opening gambit. Could you at least explain to me why I am off the case? Imbecile, cease your instant jabbering. I need not explain myself to you. My reasons are my own, and they are none of your concern. If I want to take this any further, I'll need a clue of some kind. Let me try another tack for now. Please, about the case. Did I give you permission to speak? No. 1,000 times no. You must have realized by now what a massive corner you've talked yourself into. Worthless, meaningless bluster. Some pathetic ploy to buy time, perhaps. Maybe it was a little pathetic to chime in like that here. Now I don't like this at all. I can't let him bully me onto the back foot. I have to stay calm and alert. I can read his movements and expressions correctly. Hey. I am the leader of Zhangfa. I have no time for your insolent backchat.
Yeah, hello Curtis. Do you not like the time limit in this bit though?
I was simply hoping to confirm one basic fact. You say that the investigation will now be assigned to your national police force. I do. Now enough of your pointless questions. Good boy. The interior of this plane is the sovereign territory of Zhangfa. You have no rights here.
This is the one.
Is that so?
Could it be that our current location itself is somehow significant? A significant something? Whatever.
I should keep that in mind. It could be a useful clue.
Could you at least explain to me why I'm up there? Whatever.
Yeah, I've heard this before. Perhaps it's time to employ my crew. In the course of our conversation, I've deduced certain facts from your behavior, Mr. President. For example, you seem particularly aggressive when discussing our current location. You smarmy smart aleck. As you said yourself, the presidential plane is the sovereign territory of Zhangfa. And from that we can infer that you believe the rules of You believe the rules of extraterritorial. God, it's hard to say in this voice. That you believe the rules of extraterritorial. That you believe the rules of extraterritoriality apply inside here. Is that correct? I completely said that wrong, but whatever. Enough. Cease your objectionable whining. You can rant and roar all you like, but you won't escape my scrutiny. It was unmistakable. The moment I mentioned extraterritoriality, you became visibly agitated. You think you're clever, don't you? Let me answer your little question. It's true, extraterritoriality applies. Your laws mean nothing here. And why does that matter, you ask? It matters because it means you are powerless. You have neither influence nor authority here. Interesting. So the extraterritoriality issue does have something to do with all of this? Let's dig a little deeper into the claim that the plane is sovereign territory, shall we? This next move will surely decide the victor. You may be the president, but nobody is untouchable. I just have to find the right angle of attack. You believe the extraterritoriality... Extraterritoriality. You believe that extraterritoriality applies here, but can you prove it? Do you even understand what you are asking? Of course. If I didn't, I wouldn't ask it. Have you no shame, calling into question the good word of one such as myself? You must have realized by now what I'm... Yeah, right. Why was that not right? Oh, fine. Don't fucking work. I know exactly what I want to say, but you're not letting me fucking say it. Of course you know. Fucking game. I have no more time for this. You clearly cannot be saved from your own foolishness. You needn't worry about me. I'm not the one who needs saving. That would be Miss Lloyd, the woman who is being wrongfully accused of this crime. Your chivalry is admirable, but it changes nothing. The right to extraterritoriality cannot be denied. This is Zhangfa. If I want to take this any further, I'll need a clue of some kind. Let me try another attack for now. Right, fine. Surely you see that you have overplayed your hand. Nobody asked for your opinion. You need only obey me. Nothing else. You dare to tell me how to govern, how to lead. You dare contradict me. On the matter of Miss Lloyd's guilt, yes I do. No, she is guilty. She is the culprit. There is nothing left to debate. Who else else could have fired from outside the plane. There is no other viable suspect. Fascinating. So he's claiming that Miss Lloyd fired at him from outside the plane. This could be a vital clue. My time. Time to deploy my clue. I may not be able to call the extraterritoriality of the presidential plane into doubt. However, according to you, she shot at you from outside the aircraft, correct? In which case, extraterritoriality could not possibly apply in this case. Your assertion is entirely without merit, and the detainment of Miss Lloyd cannot be justified. How could I have bested by a mere prosecutor? But I am the president. The president! Checkmate. Hit the time limit. I trust you won't mind if we continue our investigation now, Mr. President. I hereby officially and unreservedly confer my approval. Consider it a gesture of the magnanimity and generosity for which my good office is known. Yes, without such noble acts. Stop fucking doing auto text. Come on. I'm glad it does this, though. Consider it a gesture of the good office known. Yes, for without noble acts such as these, unmistakably and irrefutably, for which reason we hereby, there can be no other outcome, for our goals are lofty and our hearts. People of Zhangfa, I swear to you here and now, this investigation will continue.
All that when he could have just said, okay, you got me.
Mr. Knight, if you would care to return the evidence. Take it.
Did it, Mr. Edgeworth?
We sure did, and now the investigation can continue. Whatever. Enjoy your pocket full of pawns. I'll be over here enjoying how you put them into play. Then you will definitely enjoy my next move. Mr. President, one more favor if you'll be so kind. What is it? Could you please give us your testimony concerning the incident itself? Now you want me to testify? Whoa, that's your next move? If you want the President to testify, you have to take him to court. All in good time, Mr. Knight. He will get his day in court soon enough. But if a person of interest refuses to cooperate at the investigative stage of the process, they are obliged to provide detailed justification as to their reasons for doing so. That's... What's the matter? Is there something you'd rather we didn't know? Stand down, Knight. I'll do as the prosecutor asks. Thank you for your cooperation. Now listen, and listen well. Where was I when the incident occurred? The stage, of course. Suddenly, Rook and Knight jumped in front of me. Then, bang, a shot rang out, and a pain. There. and a plain, unblemished balloon of red exploded nearby. Not hesitating for an instant, my bodyguards tried to escort me back to the safety of the plane. And then, the second shot. The bullet went right through Rook and lodged itself into the bulletproof vest I was wearing.
I guess if you look at it one way, the president is also a victim here.
Yes, the victim of an attempted assassination. Rook was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time.
That makes it even weirder. Why would the target of a crime try to obstruct the investigation?
My guess is that there's something behind all this that he doesn't want made public. Cover up, huh? Knew there was more to this case than meets the eye. And the president isn't the only one who knows the truth. Isn't that right, Mr. Knight? Time to get to the bottom of this once and for all.
Why?
I don't know if he actually took any evidence. My fault.
Hold it!
And how would you describe the incident exactly? Oh, you naive little man. Do you really think your silly, simple questions will shake me? I was involved in a craven attempt to silence me with cold steel. And while I was speaking to my adoring public, no less.
Hold it!
When they stepped in to protect you, were you aware of the fact that you were being targeted? Was I aware of that? No, I was aware of my audience, nothing else. When I step up to the podium, I enter another world entirely. A place of rapture, a place beyond words.
Yeah, I think that's called stage fright. I bet you were like a deer in the headlights.
No, 1,000 times no. I remember every second. Each moment is indelibly etched in my memory. When Rook and Knight stepped in, I was shocked, overwhelmed, taken aback.
Hold it!
About that red balloon. Are you trying to test me, Mr. Prosecutor? No, Mr. President. I simply wish to confirm what you remember. Very well. There were two very large, very round balloons on either side of the stage. Their deep crimson hue stood stark against the sky, just as the security plan said they would. The same security fan we found in the trash can, I assume. Rook and Knight leapt to my aid just before the balloon exploded.
Hold it!
You said they tried to escort you back onto the plane. Yes, that is exactly what I said. They threw open their attaché cases. That must be the moment Kay captured on camera, and immediately moved to help me back onto the aircraft.
Hold it!
Do you know where that second bullet went? Is that how you treat a foreign dignitary, or do you really think such needling questions necessary?
Whoa, what's he so upset about?
Must you insist on going over the same details again and again? Even my patience has its limits. You know full well where it went.
Hold it!
If I may ask, what was the victim like in that moment? He was a man amongst men, a real hero. The mere impact of the bullet took my breath away, and yet he had the strength to grab me and rush me back inside the presidential plane. So you and the victim entered the plane together, is that correct? Yes, you offered his noble protection and I gladly accepted it. All was as it should be. Well, that sounds nice and all, but doesn't that just mean he's always the first to make his escape? He's the president, detective. It's basically in his job description to do so.
Nothing you're saying seems too off base.
Guy's the victim here. Wouldn't make much sense for him to lie to us, you know? I guess we've got to assume he's telling the... No, one of the things he said is clearly wrong. Think back to the scene of the crime.
Did we miss something? Alright, let me see that evidence again.
I might as well take another look myself.
Save.
Save.
Objection!
You say it was a plain red balloon that burst, but I strongly beg to differ. Take a look at this. I think you'd agree that it's hardly plain, wouldn't you? No! What? Who is that? Mr. President, meet the Steel Samurai. I would have hoped you might recognize him. Especially if you were hoping to integrate yourself with the people of this country. Ingratiate yourself to the... Especially if you were hoping to ingratiate yourself with the people of this country. Whatever.
Yeah, you need to watch German Ninja 2. He's amazing.
So you see, the balloon that was struck by the bullet was anything but plain. It was in fact of the Steel Samurai. But the briefing mentioned 2 plain red balloons. And there they are, right on the security plan.
They do look pretty plain, don't they? Just simple round balloons.
Knight, what is the meaning of this? Explain yourself. Yes, Mr. President. It seems the Steel Samurai balloon was borrowed at the last minute, sir. Borrowed? Well, that's what we were told. Guess they've only reported the incident to us bodyguards, though. Seems there was a little trouble here on site last night. One of the original balloons burst somehow.
So they swapped it in as an emergency replacement.
Yeah, one of the stall holders happened to have it. From what I hear, he was more than willing to lend it out. Very happy-go-lucky kind of guy, they said. Happy-go-lucky stall holder with a Steel Samurai balloon to spare, huh? They filled just the bottom part of the balloon with air to make it look like the other ornamental balloon. So while it was a Steel Samurai balloon, it was made to look like a plain red one above water. Is that the long and short of it? Knight, why was I not informed of this? Sorry sir, we didn't think it was a pressing issue. And indeed, you saw it and knew no different, correct? Yes, I suppose so. could he really have mistaken the Silver Samurai's pants for a plain red balloon? Still, Mr. President, I struggle to see how you wouldn't have noticed something different about the balloon. Of course. What's that outburst for? Now I remember. I could barely see the balloon. You couldn't see it? That's right. The wind was blowing too hard. The flags to the side of the stage were flapping incessantly and blocking my view. Is that so? Yes, those two flags. They were being blown back towards me. There would have been a strong wind blowing right around the time of the incident, strong enough to blow the flags in just such a fashion. But does this conflict in any way with our understanding of the case? Yes, it does. Thank you, Mr. President. Your testimony has revealed yet another contradiction. It has. Yes, a contradiction that could turn this entire case on its head. When I arrived on the scene, the wind had died down and the flags were resting calmly for the most part. But if the wind had previously blown the flags as the President describes, a certain piece of evidence suddenly takes on a very different meaning. Which piece of evidence contradicts the stated conditions of the stage at the time of the incident? Directory?
Take that!
Earlier, we deduced that the bullet that struck the Steel Samurai balloon and the bullet that passed through the flag were one and the same. From these two things, we further deduced that the trajectory of the bullet must have taken. And we concluded that our shooter must have fired from the left side of the spectator area. But if the flags were blowing as the President describes, our conclusion becomes quite different.
No way. If the flags were pointed in the other direction.
Exactly. Our trajectory changes completely. And if we trace that trajectory back to its source, we can ascertain who really fired that shot.
Wait, Mr. Edgeworth, that would mean...
Yes, I know. We may not yet understand the reason why, but it can only have been one person who did it. Who does the bullet's new trajectory implicate as the one that fired the shot?
Take that!
The person who fired that shot was none other than you, Mr. Knight. What? The path from the balloon back through the flag leads directly to the spot where you were standing. But the guy's one of the President's bodyguards. Why the heck would he go around shooting balloons? This is absurd. What exactly are you trying to imply? That Mr. Knight, a man who has saved my life countless times, is my would-be assassin? Seriously, Edgeworth, we put up with a lot from you, but this... We're President Wang's bodyguards. We're the pieces put on the board to protect the king. I'll handle this, Knight. Sorry, sir. Mr. Edgeworth, the wind was indeed blowing quite fiercely around the time of my speech. But the wind can pick up and die away in an instant, can it not? Therefore I need proof. Proof that it was blowing hard enough to lift the flags during that crucial moment. The first shot was fired right around the time the President raised his fist. I have a piece of evidence that shows just that. Perhaps it can also show us what was happening with the flag then too. This one, maybe? I mean, it would have to be, wouldn't it?
Take that!
Your proof is in this picture right here. This should be good. Which picture? Where? Ah, even more on online. We can see which way the flag was really blowing right here.
Take that!
Well, do you deny that it clearly shows the flag? No. There we have it. Proof that it was blowing towards you at the moment of the shooting. Oh, so that means our pal over there did shoot the blue.
Making him the assassin.
Mr. Knight. I mean, why don't you give me a choice? Seems like a trap. Mr. Knight is not the assassin. He may have shot the balloon, but the president was on the other side of him entirely. Therefore, he can't have been aiming at his boss. Yeah, besides, why would I even shoot the balloon? What would be the point? And watch how you answer, or I might aim for something else next. There was a point, I'm sure of it. If I can figure out what it was, perhaps I can finally put this whole conundrum to rest. Knight definitely shot the balloon. That fact alone changes everything about the case. Make a nice position. Why did Knight's assigned position change? I told you, I can't turn my neck to the right, could only cover the president's left side. So I wound up moving to the right side of the stage. But is that the only reason? Let us suppose that the plan hadn't changed, that Knight had remained posted on the left. Given that he was unable to turn his head to the right, would he even have been able to shoot the balloon closest to him? Could it be that the security plan was changed for the express purpose of popping one of the balloons? And if we suppose that to be the case, the two plans are different. Was the security detail reorganized at some point? Yeah, we made some last-minute changes yesterday. President's orders. That's right. The president was the one who ordered the change. And two there, so... If I'm reading things right, the president knew in advance about the balloon shooting. Which means he must have foreknowledge he would be in someone's crosshairs today as well. And if that's true, then everything else that has been bothering me falls neatly into place. How did the shooter get a gun past such heavy security? And why would they then carry out the shooting wearing such a conspicuous item of clothing? Why use a laser sight that would give away their location in an instant? And how did the president suffer no injuries at all, despite a direct hit to his vest? These are the questions that Knight and the president didn't want us to consider. There was only one possible reason for Mr. Knight to have fired his gun. To create the illusion of assassination attempt.
What?
Huh? Idiot. You do understand what you're saying. Oh, I understand all too well. I understand everything now. Most of all, I understand why you are so keen to take this investigation off my hands, Mr. President. You wanted your real plans to remain hidden. How dare you speak to me that way? Is this some sort of sick joke? Oh, it's no joke, I assure you. It is simply the truth, as revealed by the careful application of logic and reasoning, nothing more. The first shot was fired by Mr. Knight with the specific intention of hitting that balloon. The sound of gunfire and the bursting of the balloon were guaranteed to cause a panic. And then he fired again.
He did?
Yes, he fired 2 bullets, both of which were aimed at the balloon. As for why he did so, it's because the second shot was designed to create the impression that the president had been hit.
So then, what's the deal with the one in the vest?
I'm willing to bet that bullet was planted there long before the shooting even occurred.
So Mr. Heroic President didn't take a bullet after all.
That's not true. I was shot, I tell you. We'll be able to verify that for ourselves once we take a closer look at the bullet. At the very least, we can expect to find traces of Mr. Rook's blood on it, correct? But you said it yourself. You found the shooter in the photograph. The person with the red hood. I thought I made myself clear. The trajectory points to only one possible shooter, Mr. Knight.
Then where does Tabby fit into all of this?
She was simply one part of their plan. In order to place their suspicion elsewhere, they set about creating a fake assassin.
The highly suspicious person wearing the red hood. With the red hood.
I have yet to ascertain exactly how complicit Miss Lloyd was in the whole scheme, but I can say with some confidence that none of the shots were fired by her. I suspect her only job was to point a laser sight at the president.
That's right. Then I was
tasked with turning your jacket inside out the moment the crowd fled into a panic, yes. Thus making the mysterious red-hooded shooter disappear in the blink of an eye. Then, when the gun and the security plan were later found in the trash can, it would all have appeared to have been the work of an assassin so skilled they could vanish into thin air. But then the case would have gone cold. Exactly what our friends here were hoping for.
Makes sense. Now why they wanted you off the case.
Indeed, because the entire affair was a cheap ruse perpetrated by the president himself. Roar. The presidential mask has well and truly slipped. Admit it, the entire assassination was a lie, wasn't it? That stupid prosecutor hadn't insisted on assigning you. How could I let this happen?
Objection!
That's enough, Edgeworth. Mr. Knight? Sorry, but I'm speaking with the president right now. Yeah, well, I'm doing my job as a knight and protecting my king. So go ahead, keep running your mouth. Perhaps it would be better if we stuck to threatening each other with words.
He wouldn't, would he?
Nah, I don't need this thing to shut you up. Alright, my move. Question. You claim I fired my gun from on stage. How do you figure I did that in front of a crowd of thousands? An excellent point. Time for my counter move, I suppose. You had a certain something that allowed you to conceal your actions. A certain something, huh? Mighty specific. What did Mr. Knight use to hide his actions from the crowd?
Take that!
My attaché case? Yes. Take a look at case photograph. Your right hand is completely obscured by the case. At the very moment this picture was taken, you were firing your gun. And in such a way that you wouldn't be detected.
Objection!
You don't like to let the facts get in the way of a good theory, do you, Edgeworth? Shame you don't seem to have noticed. Noticed what? The theories are all you have. Conjectures, nothing more. The flag was blown in the wind at precisely the right moment. I hit my gun with my attaché case. We changed the security plan because I couldn't turn my head. It's all just speculation, circumstantial evidence at best. You can't prove any of it. If you at least had the bullet that burst the balloon, you might have a scrap of credibility. Imagine, you could have run for forensics on it to see if it matched my gun. No, that bullet is at the bottom of the lake. You're gonna go dredge it up. I hate to say it, but he's right. I don't have anything concrete. I thought not. Maybe now you can shut your mouth. Miss Lloyd? Of course, she could shed some light on this whole situation. I just need to get her to talk. What's the matter? Something you want to say, Miss Journalist?
Nah, never mind.
That's what I thought. Miss Lloyd, I need you to be brave. If you don't speak up, the truth will be lost forever. You are a journalist after all, are you not?
Dang it, can't stay quiet any longer.
Hey, you understand what you're doing, right? I think carefully before opening that mouth of yours.
I was so focused on begging me a scoop, I forgot the most important thing of all. Real journalists don't lie. Ain't no dang scoop if it ain't the truth. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth. I should have shown you this before.
What is it?
It's the laser pointer I used on the president. That's all I done. I never shot nobody.
You stupid. What I told you. You squeal and you go down as an accomplice.
It was him. He told me to do it. I was at Zhang Fe's embassy, sniffing out a story like I told you. This was 3 days back. He comes up to me out of the blue, just starts talking. Help me out and I'll get you the exclusive access to the president. That kind of stuff.
But what about the gun in the trash can?
That I don't know nothing about. I swear it. All he told me was to wear a jacket with a red hood and to point that there pointer at the president. Never thought for a minute it'd blow up in my face so bad. I'm sorry, truly I am.
Thank you, Miss Lloyd. I'd like you to testify to that effect when this goes to trial. It ought to go a long way towards proving that the assassination was a sham. What's wrong with you people? Don't any of you know what's good for you? My sympathies, Mr. Knight. Had you successfully removed me from this case as you'd intended, perhaps then you could have kept your pawn quiet,
So, let me get this straight. You told Tabby, if you let slip about a fake assassination plot, we'll have you convicted for murder. Or something like that.
Oh, what a dirty! I said no such thing. President Wang? Give it up, Knight. Time we came clean. It's our only choice. So, Mr. President, you admit it. You admit that there was a plot to fake an assassination attempt. I do. I'm sorry.
Why? Why do something like that?
Well, my popularity has been on the wane back home. I thought surviving an attempt on my life might give me the boost I needed. I know what we did was wrong, so yes, it was all lies, all of it. Even the bolt in the vest? It was planted ahead of time. Wasn't hit by anything today.
But then, what was up with the killer?
Our plan got out somehow. And then he just appeared, hell-bent on turning our fake assassination into a real one. Hence the red raincoat, I suppose. He'd hoped to get in close enough as the fake assassin to finish the job. There is one thing I don't understand, though. Oh, and what would that be? Why did Rook have to die? The whole thing was fake. How did he wind up getting killed for real? That's true, and therein lies the real question. He was a fine bodyguard. The best, in fact. He may not have been a native of Zhangfa, but he was someone I could fully trust.
Mr. Rook must have been really something to gain the trust of someone who'd hide from his own shadow.
Sounds like he was as trustworthy to the President as I am to you, huh, sir? I believe that's for me to say, Detective, not you. Mr. Rook must have known about the plan too, then, correct? He wasn't aware of any specific details, so not really. Tried to involve him, but he refused. And you would have done well to listen to him. This is a tragedy. The life of a good man has been wasted. What was so great about him, anyway? What's gotten into him? It's just another piece on the board. There to protect you, nothing more. Mr. Knight, how could you? Who was it that actually went along with your plan, huh, Mr. President? Well, that pious coward backed down when you needed him to step up the most. I value your support too, of course, but... Look, I'm your chief bodyguard now. That's all that matters. And now that that spineless fool Rook is gone, things are gonna change around here. Thanks to me, genius strategist, Grand Master, rightful leader of this team. We're all well aware of your ambitions, Mr. Knight. But doesn't this seem a little imprudent to you? Why? My plan this time was perfect, as they always are, and as they always will be. That's quite a statement, especially considering that your perfect plan was an abject failure. Yeah, no thanks to you, and that buffoon Rook. And how exactly was it Mr. Rook's fault? He hadn't died, the killer would never come after me, and I wouldn't have had to let you on this plane. Please, Mr. Knight, you mustn't talk like that. Fine. The guy died protecting you, Mr. President. I'm sure that's just what he always wanted. But he did die protecting the President. But did he die protecting the President?
Wait, I thought the whole assassination thing was fake.
Oh, come on, do I have to say everything twice? I planned a fake assassination, but somebody else came along and tried to make it real. 2 shots were fired, remember? Like you said, Edgeworth, one of them was the bullet I shot through that balloon. But the second, that wasn't me. Oh, really? Then who did fire it? A real assassin, but not to kill her. His plan was to come after the President with a knife. No, the most likely suspect here is the piece cowering quietly in the corner. A lily-white queen over there.
What?
Miss Lloyd?
Again with this. I'm not your danged assassin.
But is that really true? I, for one, don't believe it. The gun in the trash can. It can only belong to you. As soon as I shot that balloon, I rushed over to help Rook escort the president back onto the plane. I left Rook here in this room while I secured the president in the safe room. When I came back out, Rook was lying there on the ground. This journalist must have shot Rook while we were escorting the president off stage. A single killer shot was fired by the gun you found in the trash can. So you don't actually know when the victim was struck by the bullet, do you? The knight doesn't protect the Rook, Edgeworth. He protects the king.
You wanna translate?
He means that his only concern was protecting the president. Lose the king and you lose the game. Isn't that the first rule of chess? But a win in which a key piece is sacrificed is a hollow victory indeed. Doesn't matter. It's still a victory. I kept the president safe. I win. Well, it's a bit early to be calling our little match, in any case, for this is where our battle really begins.
Hold it!
The victim really didn't take part in your little plan then, did he? Nope, and we kept him in the dark on the details.
So you really thought the president was in danger? But wait, you must have noticed that the shot came from right next to him.
Maybe he did. Guess we'll never know. And even if he did know it was a sham, he still had a job to do. He still had to protect his king. And he was able to make a judgment like that in a split second. Impressive. He really was as capable as they say. Not so capable that I couldn't read him like a book. I made it so he had no choice but to go along with our little performance.
Hold it!
Why did you... why do that? You and the president both knew the whole thing was real. But it had to seem real. There were people everywhere. It's not a good look, right? Imagine if someone had spotted a man who'd just been shot at, hanging out in his plane, sipping grape juice like he didn't have a care in the world. And what was the victim doing during this time, during all this? Who knows? I was in the safe room like I said. Anyway.
Hold it!
Where on the ground exactly? Right where he is now. In the middle of the floor. The door to the outside was shut though. Guess the bullet must have hit him right before he closed it. Thanks to his little blunder, the whole plan fell apart. Mr. Knight, you mustn't talk that way. You may have kept you safe, Mr. President, but he isn't here now to save your good name. I'd call that dereliction of duty. What would you call it? An honourable try, which is more than what you'd give, I'd say. Sorry, but that's just how it is.
Hold it!
Weren't you and Mr. Rook both carrying bulletproof attaché cases? Yeah, opened them right after Rook spotted the laser slate. We moved into covering positions and used them to shield the president. So the bullet that hit Mr. Rook travelled through a gap in that defensive shield? Do you really believe Miss Lloyd to be that skilled a marksperson? No, she was aiming for the president. That makes her a lousy shot. So, it was pure coincidence that Mr. Rook was hit. And the bullet simply happened to find its way past your attaché case and through the gap into his vest. Seems crazy to me too, but the facts are the facts. It was a shot in a million, but the shooter hit the bullseye, and the proof is in your hands.
Hold it!
So, the second shot had nothing to do with you. Right, that one was fired by your little friend. Imagine this scoop she'd have bagged if it had hit its mark.
I'm a journalist, you hear? I don't make facts, I report them.
Yeah, a journalist who signed up to a fake assassination plan in the hopes of getting the story.
That's not...
Look, I'll admit it. I set the whole thing up. And your role was to aim that laser pointer at the president. Not my fault that wasn't enough for you. You were the one who decided to bring a gun to the party. Who knows, maybe you thought if you kept on shooting you could shut me up too. So, Mr. Knight suggesting that he first fired one shot and then Miss Lloyd fired one more.
Yeah, basically implying that Tabby also had a gun on her. Beats me where she could have got one from, but hey.
His entire testimony is pure conjecture. You can't prove any of it.
You're right, let's hit him with some cold, hard, undeniable evidence.
Objection!
So you contend that it was you who shot the balloon, and Miss Lloyd who shot Mr. Rook? Are you sure about that? Oh, I'm sure. While what you proposed would indeed match up with the total number of shots heard, the gun from the trash can itself has also been fired twice. Now, why would the supposed number of shots heard from this gun differ from the number of spent rounds? It's simple, because it was planted by the real perpetrator of the crime.
Somebody faked the evidence?
Yes, and if you think about it, their reason for doing so is obvious. To ensure that whoever found the gun would conclude that the shooter had been in the spectator area. And in order to do that, they had to make it seem as if both shots had come from this one weapon.
Get it. And that's why it's got 2 spent rounds, huh?
Precisely. As we have already proven, the bullet that burst the balloon came from a different weapon. Which makes it entirely possible that the bullet which killed Mr. Rook didn't come from this gun either. Nice work, Edgeworth. That's some high-grade sleuthing. But why don't you get to the point? You've come this far. Spit it out. Oh, I intend to. Don't worry. The person who really shot Mr. Rook was...
Take that!
You, Mr. Knight. You're the one who murdered Mr. Rook. Oh, finally got up the courage to say it, huh? Surely not. Surely you wouldn't have. It wasn't only to kill him who tried to take advantage of this fake murder plot. You killed Mr. Rook, hoping that he would look like an accidental victim of the bungled assassination. With the president locked away in the safe room and the door of the airplane tightly closed, it was just you and Mr. Rook, alone, together. And that was when the third bullet was fired, right into your colleague's body.
Objection!
Wait, really gonna claim that there's a third one now? You just said that only 2 gunshots were heard. Wanna tell me how that works?
Objection!
Airplane cabins are practically soundproof, Mr. Knight. If you close the door, nothing can be heard from the outside, not even gunfire.
Wasn't the president right next door?
Very true, which means he may have heard the shot himself. Well, Mr. President? I didn't hear anything. But you can observe this room through your security feed, can you not? But the camera in this room isn't normally on. I have to manually switch it on when I enter the safe room.
And that's what you did this time too, right?
Well, that is... What's gotten into him? Mr. President, this is vitally important.
Please, President Wang.
Fine. I was busy hiding under the bed, covering my ears.
What? Even though you knew the whole thing wasn't real?
Yes, because I hate the sound of guns. Just the slightest hint of that awful noise and, oh, it's just too much.
Ugh, that is sadder than a pot of overcooked crawfish.
Mr. Knight, you saw that President Wang was carrying beneath the bed. And what's more, you knew from the monitor bank that the security camera from his room hadn't been switched on. Which means you knew that the circumstances were perfect for you to fire the third shot straight at Mr. Rook. Knight, how could you really have betrayed my trust so horribly? Yeah, you think I killed the old half-wit? You don't trust me much, huh? This is the thanks I get for putting my life on the line for you day after day. I want to believe you, but... I don't get it. I just don't get it. What is there to doubt here? What? You don't believe that the girl over there could have done it? No. Because this gun isn't the murder weapon. We know this from the number of bullets fired. Yeah, well, how'd you know there wasn't a spent bullet from the start? What? Someone could have fired a bullet from that gun yesterday or the day before. And today another bullet. That bullet hit the bullet that hit Rook. Well, that's pure speculation, pal, and you know it. Maybe, but can you prove it's not? Not with any certainty, no. You're nothing without conclusive proof. But come on. A single piece of evidence straight through my heart. I dare you. Well, what are you waiting for?
There must be something, mustn't there, Mr. Edgeworth? We can't prove it, Tabbies. These ruffles. Messed up. No, I did. Should have never have done what I did. Not even for a scoop. But murder? Nah, that ain't me. Ain't a murderous bone in my body.
Conclusive proof. If only I could prove that Knight's gun is the murder weapon. Wait, perhaps I can. You at least had the bullet that burst the balloon. You might have a scrap of credibility. Imagine, you could have run for forensics to see if it matched my gun. If we had the bullet that killed Mr. Rook, forensics could tell us which gun it was fired from. No proof, no case. End of conversation.
Objection!
Hold it right there. What now? You're not about to claim you do have proof. Of course I do. This ought to be good. Alright, bring it on. Show me this proof of yours. The bullet that killed Mr. Rook is the key to ending our little game. Very well. My conclusive evidence is... not in my possession. Not currently in my possession. Alright then, thanks for playing, folks. And that's game over. However, it is here in this room. What? As we know, the bullet that kills Mr. Rook passed through his body. But where did it end its journey? Perhaps we should cast our minds back to an earlier conversation. After passing through his body, the bullet that took Mr. Rook's life then found itself lodged in the vest. He's right. If the president hadn't been wearing that vest, things could have been a lot worse. But now, of course, we know that the so-called assassination attempt was a complete fabrication. The vest was prepared in advance, made to look as if it had been hit by a bullet. Which begs the question, where is the real bullet? I like it. Twist. This is good stuff, Edgeworth. Come on then, don't keep us in suspense. Does any of the evidence point to where the bullet that killed Mr. Rook might have ended up? Really just have to use the other thing.
Take that!
There's something very clearly missing from this room. Yes, a prosecutor with some common sense. Take a look at the bank of security monitors. Oh! I see you've caught on, Mr. President. Splendid. There are screens here showing views from all around this airplane, inside and out. The only external angle not covered is the right-hand side of the aircraft, and that's because one of the monitors is missing. There was a monitor in that Sphinx previously, wasn't there, Mr. President?
There was. I have no idea what my plushie is doing there now, though.
It appears... Ugh, there is a 2 missing from there. It appears to be someone's vain attempt to hide what is obviously lacking. But where did it go, and why? The why is easy enough to answer, because it was struck by a bullet. Or if we were to believe that the bullet was in the vest. For if we were to believe that the bullet in the vest was the real deal, then anything that hinted at the existence of another bullet had to be removed.
So, where did the missing monitor go?
Where indeed. I believe that it must be hidden somewhere on this plane. After all, there wouldn't have been time to dispose of it outside the aircraft. Detective Gumshoe, conduct a search if you would.
Right away, sir.
Mr. President, extraterritoriality, remember?
I have no objection to the search. Please go ahead. If it will help us discover the truth behind what happened to Rook, I must not stand in your way.
Why? I don't believe this. Rook this, Rook that. Don't you ever think about anybody else. The search has been authorized, Detective, if you wouldn't mind.
Sir, I found the monitor.
Excellent work. Now go ahead and extract the bullet.
Oh, let's see. I'll put my hand in here and just... Come on. Got it!
Well, would you look at that. Blood. This is the bullet that killed Mr. Rook, there's no doubt about it. And there you have it, Mr. Knight. The single piece of evidence you requested, straight through your heart. Even you must now admit it. If this bullet didn't come from the Even you must now admit, if this bullet didn't come from the spectator area gun, then Miss Lloyd cannot be Mr. Rook's killer. What? No pithy comeback? Detective, have forensics analyze the bullet for separations and compare them to the gun we found.
Yes, sir. We'll get the evidence you need. You can count on it.
Alright, let's hear what forensics has to say. Our findings are as follows, sir. Firstly, the blood on the bullet is indeed that of the victim, proving that it was the bullet that killed Mr. Rook. Secondly, we found Mr. Knight's fingerprints on the gun, probably from when I handed all of the evidence over to him. Now for the key part, the striations. If they're not a match, then Miss Lloyd's in the clear. Lastly, the striations on the bullet are a match with this weapon. What? How could that be?
No way. Oh, come on.
No doubt about it, sir. This is the gun that fired the bullet. Ow! Well, isn't that something? Conclusive proof that I was right. What's the matter? You didn't think you had me backed into a corner, did you? You changed the guns around. Guess you misread the board. Because the only one backed into a corner here is you. There's no denying it. Forensics proved that the gun and the bullet are a match. The bullet that killed Rook was fired from the gun you found in the spectator area. So who pulled the trigger? It can't be me. I was up on stage, which leaves your little friend. The hack killed Rook. She's the murderer, and you just proved it. Your move, Edgeworth. Just remember two things. One, where you found that gun. And two, which gun the fatal bullet came from. Whichever way you look at it, I can't have been the shooter. How did it come to this? Me and the President, we admitted to faking the assassination attempt. Now it's your turn to admit something. Who the killer really is.
No way Tabby did it, is there?
Don't let him get you, okay? We just need to go over his statements again. There must be something further we can deduce from them.
Okay, let's do this, Mr. Edgeworth.
Hold it!
No, that's...
Objection!
What was it that you said? That forensics would back you up? How does it feel to be shot in the chest by your own conclusive proof, huh? Not so good, I imagine.
Bullet and the gun are a match, Mr. Edgeworth. Kinda has to mean that Tabby pulled the trigger, no?
Even so, I simply cannot accept that.
Sir, there's no denying the evidence.
And there isn't, so what am I missing? I assume Miss Lloyd to be innocent, and the gun and the bullet shouldn't be a match. What is it, Kay?
I was just thinking, the evidence points to something that doesn't seem possible, and maybe there's something wrong with it.
You're asking me to call the evidence into question?
Well, there's no way Tabby did this, right? If the evidence says that she did, then the problem must lie there.
Seem very sure about this.
Call it my great thief's intuition.
Intuition, huh? Still, she could be right. Simply don't believe Miss Lloyd to be a malicious liar, which means... As someone who believes that evidence is everything in court, the irony is not lost on me, but... If I were to call a piece of evidence into question, it would have to be... No. If something untoward is going on here, it would have to involve the weapon, not the bullet. After all, we only just recovered the bullet a little while ago. Furthermore, we know that Mr. Knight had an opportunity to handle the gun.
Now hand over the evidence you have gathered and remove yourself from this plane.
I'd do as he says if I were you, Edgeworth. This can't really be the end of the line, can it? Indeed, he had ample opportunity. There's no doubt that this gun is the weapon that was used in the crime. Which means it must belong to...
Take that!
The gun belongs to Mr. Knight. He switched them around. Has to be it.
Like presented.
Objection!
Nope. Fine, push the rest first. Whatever.
Hold it!
Mr.
Objection!
No, you hold it. You were the one who proved this. Or are you saying that forensics was wrong? The bullet had the victim's blood on it, which means it must be the one that took his leg. It does seem to be fired from the gun we found in the trash can. Don't you just love this? Your face, Edgeworth. What a picture. Of a man in dire straits, yes. Well spotted. Let's just agree that the facts are what they are and move on. That gun fired the fatal bullet. You pulled the trigger. Markins, yeah, we've been through this. Fuck do I fucking say it? Jesus Christ. Isn't it here?
Objection!
Yes. Okay. Admit it, you switched the guns, didn't you, Mr. Knight? That's why the markings match the weapon in question. It was yours all along. An intriguing move there, Edgeworth. And? You must have made the switch when I handed over the evidence. While I was busy trying to make the case for the remaining on the investigation. You took the laser sight from the gun we found in the trash can. And put it on your own. Then, not long afterwards, you handed that gun back to me instead of the one we found. I did, huh? You think I somehow knew you'd find, let alone run forensics on that bullet sometime in the future? Is that so strange? You're a chess player after all. A man well used to thinking several moves ahead. I'm flattered, but much as it pains me to admit it, you're overestimating my abilities. Besides, do you even have any proof that I made the switch? The gun is the same model as mine. Weird, sure, but it's just a coincidence. And look, there's a laser sight attached. Also, take a look in the cylinder. 2 spent bullets, just what we'd expect to see. So what proof do you have that I switched the original gun out for mine, huh? None, that's what. You say I'm overestimating your abilities. You surprise me. What can I say? I'm a modest guy. More modest than you, that's for sure. Everywhere except at the chessboard, that is. Well, I don't see a chessboard here, do you? Shame. Still, guess that gives you a nice excuse. I didn't mess up, I just didn't have the right evidence. I don't think I'll be the one making excuses, rather. I didn't mess up, they just got lucky with the evidence will be your excuse, I'd imagine. Never does. A coincidence, you say? Or was it a necessity?
It can't be both, pal.
Sure it can. We bodyguards need to protect the president. And the girl needed to use a gun, but she probably doesn't know a whole lot about them. It's not so far-fetched for her to pick something she's heard of that we also happen to use.
Okay, but why a revolver? Why is that your go-to gun?
Probably something to do with its ease of use. No spent casings to chase down, for example. Exactly, the perfect tool for a job where you can't afford to fail, or don't know what you're doing. Still, coincidence, necessity, doesn't make a whole lot of difference either way.
Hold it!
Look at you swapped it on there. Put up or shut up, Edgeworth. Where's your evidence? Well, that is... Don't go making accusations you can't back up. Or did your daddy never teach you that? As it stands, the facts are in my favour here.
Hold it!
I've been meaning to ask, actually. What about your own weapon? How many spent bullets are in its cylinder? This old girl here. Oh, now. And it looks a few rounds earlier, as you saw. He reloads his gun every time he fires it. But even if I were to tell you how many there were at the time, you'd have no way of verifying that. Of course, in order to swap the guns properly, he'd have to maintain the right number of bullets per gun. He didn't have the chance to put on any gloves, though, which means... Right, I think it's about time you did the right thing and resigned, don't you? Game's all but done, see?
Hold it! Objection!
2 bullets is a problem, isn't it? What did it say? The proof is something you clearly don't have. If you did, you'd have made your move by now.
Oh, we do so have proof, right, Mr. Edgeworth?
We won't be given the chance to investigate any further. We'll have to work with what we've gathered. Think, Miles, think. Consider all the possibilities. If you've got the goods, it's now or never.
How are we supposed to prove he switched the guns?
Unfortunately, we don't have any direct evidence of his wrongdoing. But that in itself is proof of a kind.
Oh, because otherwise the situations shouldn't line up like they do, right, sir?
Right, we must carefully consider and infer what we can from the evidence he brings up in his testimony. The truth is in there somewhere.
Objection!
No, fine. What do you have to say about this? Come on, you're a chess guy. You know the rules as well as I do. Of course I do. This evidence it... Gotcha. Yeah, once you touch a piece, you gotta move it. You just made the wrong move. Own it, Edgeworth. Actually, no, fine, whatever.
Objection!
Oh, that one then. Fine. Always the fucking statements. I have your proof, right here. That's your proof? I think you've been working too hard, Edgeworth. Not the gun itself, the evidence it carries. Evidence that will prove once and for all that it does in fact belong to you. I'm looking forward to this. Go ahead, make your move. It's about to come into play. The rook, the bishop, not a pawn, surely. The evidence the gun will provide takes the form of... the markings left on the bullet.
Well, Mr. Redworth, I don't think the situations are...
Means I don't have to explain myself to you or anybody else, Detective.
Objection.
Okay, fine. Apparently got it wrong.
But it might be a good idea.
How do the bullet markings point to me exactly,
Do they spell out my name, maybe?
You're a joke, Edgeworth. A total joke. Fine. Apparently that's not fucking want me. Gonna say bullets, but bullets didn't come up as a fucking option. Fingerprints? Fine, yeah, fine, whatever. Fingerprints, namely your fingerprints, Mr. Knight.
Objection.
My prints? Of course my prints are on the gun. You handed it right to me when you gave up the evidence. How could they not be on there?
Objection.
What if I told you there are prints on the part of a gun that you shouldn't have touched at any point?
What? Where?
You can't prove that. Oh, but I can. There is a place where your fingerprints could have never been left if things happened as you say. Allow me to present the final piece of evidence that will bring our game to its rightful conclusion. Laser sight. This is a laser sight.
Well, it can be lined up with a target to make aiming a bit easier.
Yes, well that is certainly true. It also increases the risk of your target realizing they are in your sights.
Well, but I bet you wouldn't realise it if it were you, Mr. Edgeworth.
Why? Because I'm wearing red, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. How'd you guess?
Is it? Yeah, look closely at the cylinder, Detective.
2 bullet fired, but where are the prints we're looking for, sir?
You did indeed switch the guns when I handed you the evidence. But if that were all you had done, your deception would have been easily detected. Because the number of bullets fired by each gun was different.
There were 2 spent bullets in the gun we found.
Yeah, but what about Mr. Knight's gun?
We know that he fired 2 bullets from the stage into the balloon. And he fired another bullet into Mr. Rook ending his life. So 3 bullets in total, plus the few odd ones he let loose in shock during our little game. And after each shot he reloaded his gun, out of habit. With his bare hands, of course.
No.
Officer, where exactly were Mr. Knight's fingerprints found, the ones you mentioned in your report? Sir, they were found on the exterior of the weapon, but also on the bullets themselves. I'm not sure they could have gotten there just from me handing you the evidence, Mr. Knight.
That's...
And there we have it, proof that you did indeed switch the guns. This gun, the one which fired the bullets that killed Mr. Rook, is yours. And in taking his life, you are the true assassin.
I didn't...
Checkmate.
No! I was going to be the new chief of security. Blasted Rook. If it hadn't been for him, would have been in charge by now. Would have been in control of the whole team. Man was perfect. The fake assassination was supposed to be flawless.
Detective Gumshoe.
Right away, sir.
Curse you, Edgeworth. game isn't over yet. Oi. I'm afraid this is as far as we go for today. The next moves we play will be in the courtroom.
But it's not fair. It's not fair. Mr. Edgeworth, I owe you a debt of gratitude. You exposed a murderer within the ranks of my own personal guard. I will not soon forget that.
You're suddenly very presidential again. Now that we're back outside the plane.
I saw it, you know, when I first proposed the fake assassination to him.
You want me to handle it, not Rook?
Rook refused, but I can rely on you, can't I?
Of course, sir. You can count on me. I'll put together a plan that can't possibly fail. And he'll play his part like the pawn he is.
The hatred in his eyes was plain to see. He despised poor Rook. I was not entirely comfortable about moving forward with Knight in charge of our little deception. Looking back, I think he sensed my discomfort. I can't help thinking I played a part in his decision to end Rook's life.
Mr. President, none of this would have happened if you hadn't plotted to fake an attempt on her life. That was your crime, and it is a crime you will have to live with.
You are right. I can only apologize for the part I played. And I will no doubt be made to pay for my actions in one way or another. But I thank you nonetheless. You solved the riddle of Rook's demise, and for that I shall be eternally grateful. I will be here in your country for a little while longer yet. But when I have returned home, perhaps you will visit us in Zhangfa. You will always be welcome.
Oh, thank you. Y'all don't know how grateful I am. All's well that ends well.
Miss Lloyd, the accusation of murder made against you was of course entirely groundless. But the fact remains that you were a willing participant in the staged assassination attempt. The police will no doubt wish to speak to you about the matter. You should be aware that you may well be punished for your actions.
I know. I'm awfully sorry about everything. Truly I am.
I understand your desire for a scoop. There are limits.
You sure got me some serious thinking to do. You did it, Mr. Edgeworth. That was something else. Local prosecutor solves assassination conundrum. Hands eternal gratitude to President. How's that for a headline? Hey, there's my department. Mr. Prosecutor, how does it feel to solve such an important case? You must be over the moon.
She certainly doesn't stay down for long. No comment.
Dang, you one tight-lipped son of a gun.
As well I should be. This case is not over yet.
Well, it isn't? How come, sir?
Because until we unravel the story behind this, the case will never be completely over. Credit card?
Take that!
The killer's calling card.
Mr. De Killer has yet to complete his assignment.
Well, you mean he might still try to murder the president?
I hope I'm wrong, but if I'm not, this could all blow up into something more sinister yet. As one would expect with the attempted assassination of a president, the case was all over the news. My preparation for Mr. Knight's trials were constantly interrupted by requests from the press. There wasn't a person in the land who didn't know about the case. Everybody was talking about it. But in the midst of the frenzy that followed, nobody noticed that this was only the first move in a game far bigger than any of us could have imagined. Hey, case one done. Right. Here's one look at the start. Oh. Just gonna go along with that, okay. Anyway. Tomorrow then, we start episode 2. For now, though, that will be all. So for now, bye.